Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 155 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on March 21st, 2023. How are all you folks doing? I hope you're staying dry. Man, it's been raining a lot here. And I was just on travel on the West Coast, and it was even raining there. Man, it's crazy. Not good for outdoor activities. Good for plants. Not good for testing. Yeah, I was actually out in the field today for a big program. We all had to go back inside. Yeah, so I spent the day doing calculations instead. Now my brain is mush, so that sucks. So yeah, what better time to do a podcast for over an hour? You know, when your brain doesn't work, what could go wrong? Yeah, no, I'm glad you could join me today. I'll hit a note about flow-through technology. We'll take another dive into answering listener questions. And I wanted to give a shout out to the new Pew Science members out there. I just sent some more welcome emails to you folks. So with that, let's get on with the show. First, a word from our sponsors. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Top Gun Range Houston. That's right. Yeah, if you're in the Houston area, go check them out. They have a 15-lane indoor shooting range. They have the largest firearm rental fleet in the state of Texas. That's right. You can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns and machine guns and shoot all kinds of stuff. Try stuff out that you've always wanted to shoot before you buy it, or maybe you just want to take your buddies shooting that haven't shot and you want them to experience a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can check out their firearm rental inventory on their website at topgunrange.com, and you can also find them on Instagram at topgunrange. Go check them out. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by High-End Armament Technology. That's right, a dealer of exactly that, high-end arms and accessories. Robert and his crew have decades of experience and actual knowledge of the gear. So if there's a weapon system that's rare and if you're having trouble locating it, or you want to look into night vision or thermal optics or transferable machine guns, you want to find the craziest stuff ever, they're a great place to call. Check them out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they have a Facebook page, which is also High End Arms. Okay? I hope they can help you folks out. If you need it, tell them Jay sent you. And as always, the J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop. That's right. Use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically, and in turn, you cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer's purchasing process. You get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty good. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. And in the show notes, guys, check out the coupon codes we have. The code word Pew Science for Two Shot Gun Club out of Arizona. That'll save you money, save you $20 on their A-Zone membership. And if you're stocking up on magazines, which you should, use code word PSTEN at magpul.com to get $10 off your order of $100 or more. And finally, and most importantly, this podcast is brought to you by Pew Science, pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating, the simplest and most accurate hearing safe rating for suppressed small arms, based on a true human inner ear response from the entire gunshot, from before combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone. That's right. It's the home of the silencer sound standard. 7 sections. The most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the world. Check it out on pewscience.com. And you can support this podcast. You can support Pew Science itself. You can support all the testing that I do for you by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. It's really cool. Also, you can donate if you're not into memberships. You can donate on the review page and the podcast page. Every little bit helps. And you know what? If you don't want to spend any money, which is likely, you can give this podcast a good rating on iTunes or Spotify. Let folks know that silencing and guns are awesome. You can normalize the use of suppressed small arms. It will help everybody. Help the greater good. All right. I got 3 topics for you today. Topic 1, a note about so-called flow-through technology. When you increase flow rate significantly, what should you expect? Can there be performance degradation? Let's talk about that. I want to make sure you guys understand that. Topic 2, listener questions. That's right. Listener questions. We're hundreds of questions in at this point. So let's answer more from the 5th solicitation. Why not? And then topic 3, Yeah, thank you to all the recent supporters. If you haven't received a welcome email yet, please let me know. I have sent quite a few. I think some more folks joined after that, but I just sent a bunch this past weekend, so let me know if you have not received one. All right, topic 1 at a time of 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Okay, man. Guys, oh my goodness, it's Tuesday, but I was on travel all weekend, and then I was out in the field today, and like I said during the intro, I've been doing calculations all day, just, got this huge calc set out, finished it, sent it off, I said, okay, here are the calcs. It's like, your brain gets in this mode. I don't know if some of you do like intense, like analytically intensive things like during the workday or whatever, but afterward, like sometimes your brain is just so incredibly zapped that I don't know if you guys feel it, but from my mind, I guess for me personally, what I feel is I feel like a clouding, like my brain's cloudy. Like it's like I could almost feel the waste products built up, where I know when I sleep tonight and I wake up in the morning, I know it's going to feel better. I know my brain's going to feel completely different. I'm going to think differently. I'm going to think more clearly. But it's days like this where it's like I am not like it's not that I'm not firing on all cylinders, but it's like there's like a block. There's like a fog. It's like a fog of war. So so if I'm not like super awesome on this one, cut me some slack, homies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Topic 1, flow through. I was planning on talking about this. I hope I can do it justice. When you have a high flow rate silencer, what happens? Like what should you expect from that? Because some people may not understand like what that means. Typically we've noticed significant low frequency inner ear response with these systems. The so-called boomy tone folks have been hearing. The member research supplements on the website really offer a window into that. So if you're a Pew Science member and you haven't seen those, I encourage you to go check them out. When you see the OSS or Huxworks silencers in those supplements, pay attention to the low frequency inner ear response in the charts. Okay, check out how much further back the curves stretch in higher amplitude compared to some of the other silencers shown. So when you look at the amplitudes, like look how far down in the frequency regime the amplitudes are jumping, and you'll see some stuff, and you'll be like, huh, it's interesting. And I write it, I try to write that in words and then show you in the graphs, and I plot it in those member supplements. I'll plot it on logarithmic scale and linear scale, so you can see the amplitudes. And I hope you're looking at that because it's real, obviously. So I want you guys to understand that, and then thinking about something else, and not to get too far off track, but when you talk about exciting different parts of the human inner ear, that the most recent article I published on the Dominus from Thunderbeast on the Mark 18, I was looking at that more. I think I need to publish a member research supplement for that, like I spoke about when I spoke about that silencer technically. I just haven't had time to publish another supplement yet. Just it's been too busy. I haven't had the time to write it. But I have the math, and I have been doing some plots internally. I did some stuff the other night, and boy howdy, does that silencer present less low frequency inner ear response than the Surefire RC2 and the CGS SCI 6, and of course less than the Huxworks as well. Duh, but less than the Surefire and the CGS, which is important to understand. And I hope I'm explaining this correctly, but like in the low end, the Surefire and the CGS are very similar. So seeing the way the Dominus, the signature from the Dominus on the Mark 18 is biased toward the most sensitive range of human ear response, it's interesting. It's like it's shifted up in frequency. so the humans are, and I'm not talking, and again, this is a nuance, but I'm not talking about like the frequency content necessarily of the Dominus, although that's part of it, but it's the human inner ear response is shifted toward the mid range, which is super sensitive with the Dominus. It's actually, and you could say this, it's funny, I don't know if I should, well, yeah, I can, you can say it like this. You can say the Dominus is the loudest it can be for the peak dB, probably. I would think like for that design, like it's such an excellent case study of loudness, because the signature is so conducive to inner ear excitation that it just sounds harsh. And it's just, and that's, so I didn't want to get too far off track, but I was talking about how when a silencer's flow rate gets high, it can be boomy. But if it, you oftentimes, right, and you'll notice that, but sometimes even when a silencer is overboard, like the Dominus, you don't get a boomy silencer at all. You just get a harsh silencer. But again, if you remember the review, the Dominus doesn't have a high flow rate. It's overboard, but the flow rate's like not high at all. It's like it's a restrictive silencer. Isn't that interesting? And then it has a harsh signature. Interesting, right? Is that a function of the overboard plus the restriction? I don't know. Maybe. Is it a coincidence? Probably not a coincidence. I think it's more than a coincidence, but it is interesting, isn't it? The way it sounds. So yeah, I think that's why that research supplement would be good. You see what I'm going with this, right? So there's a balance, right? There's definitely a balance in flow rate and bore size and interpretation of the signature by the human inner ear. It's funny, these knobs we can turn and how the silencers really sound, So I'm asking you, what can you expect from a high flow rate silencer? Well, you can expect less gas in the face, typically on semi-autos, all other things equal, right? And you would then expect less impact on weapon function, and you can expect a little bit cleaner gun, right? But we found that you really have to ramp up the flow rate. You really have to ramp it up in some cases to notice all of these things happen, right? So it depends on the weapon system. Like, how high do you have to get your flow rate to start to notice things like less gas in the face and less impact on weapon function and a little bit cleaner gun? Like, how high does flow rate have to be? It's not an on-off. It's not a binary. It's not that's a flow-through silencer. Oh, that's not a flow-through. It's not binary. It's not. There's not only one company doing this now. You see? So it depends. And so it depends. And so there's that. I want you to start thinking about that. And then regarding performance degradation, with regard to signature suppression to the human ear, there can be some degradation, especially with systems not optimized for the bore. And this is just coming from me telling you things I have not presented to you yet. Some testing I've done. I need to publish, for example, I need to publish some of the OSS HXQD762 data on the Mark 18. So that's an overboard flow through on 5.56. Okay, I tested that a while back. I need to publish it. That is actually, it is an excellent example of the tight performance envelope that you have with some of these technologies, and how unforgiving they can be when you move only a little bit outside that envelope. And so I think that would be a good example of performance degradation, because it's not. Some folks are not understanding this. They're like they're jumping on this flow through thing, and they're not understanding that you can't just get a flow through silencer and have just some kind of like mirroring of results across the board. It's not like that. Some technologies work different than others, and some lose efficiency rapidly depending on certain traits. And you can't just do this for it's not a one size fits all. And I hope people understand that. I think a lot of you do. I think a lot of the Pew Science members understand that. I think a lot of the the longtime listeners to the podcast might understand that, but some people might not. And so that's kind of why I'm just kind of giving this short public service announcement. All in all, I want folks to realize there's oftentimes no free lunch, but there are some silencers that are more balanced than others as well with regard to flow rate. I think the flow rate balance to signature, or I think the types of signatures silencers with balanced flow rate produce is interesting. And I think I did just convince myself to spend some time on that members research supplement. Maybe after I do I need to get another primary publication out first, but we'll see what I can squeeze in after it. But because we can always go back, right, and do that. It doesn't have to be right after the Thunder Beast. We can publish something and then circle back to it, as they say. I'm trying to get. I know my brain's not firing on all cylinders today, but I wanted this. This is just a short topic to kind of get this thought out there to you guys. I was thinking about this when I was driving home today. I want you to really don't take things at face value when someone says something's a flow through silencer and it's going to do XYZ. We don't have enough information to definitively say how each flow through technology is going to suppress signature. I can tell you right now, I have tested things that I have not published for client. I have some client test programs with silencers with a high flow rate that just do not, like several. I'm talking about like at least 3 or 4 companies I've tested flow through silencers that the efficacy of the technology is just not there. Like nowhere near Huxworks, for example. So I can tell you, like, it's not like you can't just like call something flow through and then have it do something. And then furthermore, even if it does work well, there are things you need to understand about the signature. And if you think it's not going to sound boomy, I don't know what to tell you, because we have no data. We have no data to suggest you can have an extremely high flow rate without dropping frequency response of the human inner ear. We have no data to suggest that yet. Okay, so I'm not going to go so far to say I'm not going to go so far as to say low frequency inner ear response is direct correlation flow rate, but I'm tempted to. Okay, all right. Let's go to topic 2 at a time. Is 17 minutes and 49 seconds. I really didn't know where that topic was going to go. My brain is just like, I don't know. It's going to go where it goes. All right, topic 2, listener questions. Yeah, we're hundreds of questions in. Let's answer more from the 5th solicitation. Okay, let's see how far we can get today. I like doing these. I do. It's fun for me. I think I learned something. Some of you folks learned something too. It's a win-win. And because of my state of mind today, I think it's going to be a good stretch for my brain. It'll probably be, hey, sometimes you have to stretch things to see how far they break. What is the limit of plasticity of your neural cortex here? So we're going to find out. Get a drink of water. What is the plastic limit of your mind? Last time on listener questions, he's crazy. Last time on listener questions, we left off on question 341, sub-question 50 from the 5th solicitation. Excuse me. And that question was, is a closed gas block on a sorry. I was reading the question, how the gentleman asked it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recite it how it was answered. And I actually did follow up with the gentleman who asked this. So I did get confirmation that we answered it correctly. So the question was, if you close an adjustable gas block on an AR, like if you shut off the gas, and you test it with PewSoft, and you on the suppressed AR that has gas shut off, and you get a suppression rating of the shooter's ear, is that an upper bound suppression rating for tuning? And the answer is yeah, probably, right? Because like there's no way having the thing eject is going to make it better. So yeah. So anyway, I answered that more comprehensively in that last episode with listener questions. So if you want to go back and listen to that answer, you can hear it. And again, the metadata tags at pewscience.com/podcast. This episode will be tagged with the metadata tag listener question. So if you click that, it should also pull up the episode with listener questions from before, and that's where you will get the answer to that question. Okay. Question 342. Local question 51. What do you think has less back pressure? A Surefire SOCOM 300 SPS or a Sandman S on the Mark 18? Oh, is that topical? I just talked about flow rate in the previous topic. So this gentleman is asking, what has less back pressure? What has a lower flow rate? No. Let me rephrase. He's asking, what do you think has less back pressure? So what has a higher flow rate? What has less back pressure? What has a higher flow rate? A 300 SPS from Surefire or a Salmon S from Dead Air? I think the Salmon S would probably have a higher flow rate, would probably have less back pressure, sir. I've actually tested, I've tested the 300 SPS on the Mark 18, but I've tested the 300 SPS on the Mark 18. I just haven't dug into the analysis and published an article because I'm not sure how applicable that is. Like, are people using a 300 SPS on 556? Like, that's why I haven't published that, because I'm like, do you care? But apparently this person does. If I remember correctly, the 300 SPS is quieter than the Salmon S. In general, I want to say it induces more back pressure due to the way the baffles are designed too. Like when I'm thinking about the 300 SPS, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I have to dig into that data to give you an answer, man. Perhaps there are some folks who have compared these two silencers on the same gun, so they can give you anecdotal evidence of like, oh, this silencer was overfunctioning my gun, or I was like way gassed out and I wasn't gassed out with this. Like that can be an indicator of like flow rate, right? So yeah. I'm sure I'll get some folks messaging me about these two silencers on 556 after I read this question. If I answer this question, I'm sure folks will reach out to me. So yeah, we'll see, sir. Sorry, I don't have a definitive answer for you on the podcast here, but I want to say the Salmon S is going to have less back pressure, but at what cost? At what cost, sir? Hope that answers your question. Question 343, sub-question 52. When will we get Huxworks/OSS 762 Helix on the Mark 18 data, please? Yeah, it's funny. I just talked about that freaking silencer in the last topic, but yeah, I've tested it, and I think I need to publish it soon. Am I going to do that this weekend? I don't know if I'm going to do that one this weekend, but I might. That could be good to do soon. Yeah, might be a good idea. I need to publish it. Thank you for the reminder. I mean, I just talked about it in the last topic, but this is a very topical question, sir. Shouldn't be too much longer for you. You're asking when? I don't give ETAs, but this one shouldn't be too much longer, I think. I think I should do that. So, yeah, that'll come. Okay, thank you for the question. Question 344, sub-question 53. Is it safe to assume K versions of full-size cans have lesser but nearly same signatures? Well, that's an interesting way. First of all, thank you for the question, but that is an interesting. I understand your question, I think, but that is an interesting way to ask it. That is an interesting way to ask that question. No, sir. I'm going to say no. It is not safe to assume that, sir. In fact, some K silencers can perform drastically differently than their full-size counterparts, I would say. Because, again, your question is it safe to assume K versions of full-size cans have lesser but nearly same signatures? Like you're when you say lesser but nearly same, that what I think you're asking is take the amplitude and scale it up. and then have like your inner ear interpret the frequencies and phase in the same way, but just with a higher amplitude. And it's like, no. How could that be? I mean, if that happened, boy, would that be interesting. Wouldn't that be interesting if that happened? Because a signature is a function of amplitude, duration, frequency, and phase. Yeah? And so all of those variables contribute. When you move from a full-size version of a silencer to a K version, sometimes you're just removing baffles. If it's a very simple design, that you're just removing baffles, but sometimes you're drastically changing the interior geometry. And really, in either case, you can significantly influence the signature produced by the silencer. It will most likely be louder. Yeah? In that it will most likely induce a greater hearing damage risk potential to your ears when you shoot it, or greater hearing damage risk potentials to bystanders when you're shooting it. Yeah, it's going to do that. But in some cases, when you're shooting K silencers, or again, simply silencers that are shorter than their full length counterparts, so that they don't necessarily have to be K, quote unquote, K silencers, they just have to be shorter. But sometimes when you're shooting those, they can be less risky to the shooter's ear on an AR platform because of the flow restriction. Not only bolt action. What if you're on an AR? Sometimes these can be less risky to the shooter's ear on an AR platform. Because you're increasing your flow rate. So now your comparison with the full size is out the window, unless you're talking about pure suppression, which would be bolt gun only. You understand? You understand why this matters? So, because you've got to remember, flow rate is a thing that changes oftentimes with a shorter silencer, right? You make the silencer shorter, you're going to ramp up your flow rate sometimes. Now, if it's balanced right, a shorter silencer can sometimes be more favorable to the ear on a semi-auto. It's not always the case, but it can happen sometimes. You just gotta be just right. You understand? It depends on the silencer. Okay, it can be super interesting, but that's just one case where it's like because you asked this, and you think about that crazy case where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just scaling down the silencer, and my signature is exactly the same. It's just multiplied by a factor of amplitude. That would be insane, because I've never seen it happen. So that's like one reason why I answered an emphatic no to your question, sir. But another reason is, think about the freaking semi-auto. Think about if that first case was possible, which it might be, but think about that. Assuming it's possible to just scale up the amplitude and have all the frequency components the same, but scale up the amplitude. Okay, if that was possible, which is probably highly improbable, but if it was possible, then put it on an AR. All bets are off because of the flow rate and the ejection port signature coalescing. You see what I mean, Jelly Bean? Yeah. Good question. Really good question. Okay, question 345. Sub-question 54. Secret sauce in nearly eliminating FRP? Star eye emoji. This person included an emoji in their question with the star eyes. I don't starstruck. I don't know what that means, that emoji, but thank you, sir, for the question. The question that I'm not going to answer. No. Secret sauce. No, I'll give you the secret sauce. I'll give you the secret sauce right now, right here on the J Situation Podcast, episode 155. Is this episode 155? Is that? Did I say that earlier? Hold on. It's going to bug me the whole night if I don't go to the website and look. Yeah, holy crap, we're on 155. How does that even happen? That's insane. Secret sauce, yeah, right here, episode 155, secret sauce to eliminating FRP. Jay's going to tell you right now, the secret sauce to nearly eliminating FRP is interrupting the combustion chain. That's right, quenching the flame front. Quenching the combustion propagation during the first shot. Oh, I'm sorry, were you asking me to tell you how to do that? It's like, I'm not going to tell you. How about you figure it out, Mr. Smarty Pants? No, I'm just kidding. No, think about how much air is easily accessible during the first shot and how to deal with that. Okay? Don't let progression of combustion travel unimpeded all the way through your stack, guys. Okay? Through that internal geometry. Make some things have to happen. Okay? And you will find your answer. Okay? Keep chasing it. Jay, will you design my silencer for me? I know that I'm not going to give you any money, but can you just design it for me? And then I'll sell the silencer, and then you won't get anything for it. But I will pat you on the back. No. Question 346. I'm just messing with you, dude. I appreciate the question. Please don't ever be scared of asking questions. That was a really good question. I think and a lot of people learned a lot from that too. Question 346, sub question 55. Will there ever be a Pew Science member meetup? I've thought about doing it, and several folks have suggested it over the years. It's possible it would happen. Definitely maybe. Thank you for the question. Question 347, sub question 56. Best suppressor mount system for sound and flash reduction. Best suppressor mount system. Suppressor mount system. The mount for sound and flash reduction? The mount? You're asking the mount system? Huh. Maybe you're asking about unsuppressed. I mean, without the silencer, you're going to want to use, something like a good 3-prong flash hider or a good birdcage flash hider. That's going to help you with flash, depending on ammo, right? Okay. All other things equal, you're going to want a good 3-prong or a good birdcage without a silencer on the gun to hide flash. Yeah. Now, as far as silencers that reduce flash really well, Surefire is one. I mean, it's really good at it. The RC2, the 5.56 RC2, the full size one, very good at hiding flash. Now, since they make a very good flash hider to hide flash when you are shooting unsuppressed, perhaps that is an option for you, sir. Now, you should note though, and this is important. I see some people get confused about this. The type of mount isn't going to help flash reduction when you put the silencer on the gun. Okay? That's not how that works, really. Flash hiders work by changing the flow dynamics at the muzzle in air. If you put a silencer on your mount, your flow dynamics are now completely different, and you need to worry about the flow dynamics out of the end cap. You've changed your problem. It's completely different. Okay. The blast chamber of the silencer, the flash inside the silencer from the flash hider is not the same as in air outside. That's not how this works, guys. Your flash hider doesn't hide flash in your silencer. It hides flash when there's no silencer on it. Okay. You've moved your problem to you put a silencer on the gun. Now your problem is moved to the end cap. You don't think that your flash hider is doing anything to hide flash when the silencer's on the gun, on the flash hider. Right? So I'm sure, sir, you were asking about unsuppressed. But for those of you who thought he was not, or for those of you who are asking the same question but not unsuppressed, then hopefully that helps. Okay, good question. Question 348, sub question 57. Dedicated tri-lug suppressor or just get an adapter? I guess you're asking for 9mm subgun stuff. Man, whatever you want, dude. I don't know. There are some really good silencers that have dedicated 3-lug mounts in them, but a lot of those can be switched out for direct thread too. I'm trying to think what silencer could not be switched. Maybe like an old subgun, like a Gemtech or something like that. 3-lug. And some pistol silencers have piston assemblies that can be retrofitted with a 3-lug adapter too, which is cool. Sir, I think it's going to depend on which weapon system you're suppressing. I need more details. If you're listening, hit me up, because I don't know what the root of your question is here, sir. Okay, thank you. Question 349, Local question 58. Do you expect to see a war comp style impact with a tri-lug on the MP5 versus direct thread? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've already tested that. Doesn't happen. The tri-lug system on a subsonic 9mm cartridge, it's operating in a completely different pressure and duration regime than centerfire rifle. Has completely different geometry. Does not jet high pressure gas through that interface. So no, I can definitely say no. Definitively, yeah, no. I do not expect that, and I have not observed it in testing. Now, could it happen? Could you overwhelm the system? And to be clear, I don't know if I'm going too fast here, guys, but so this gentleman I was going to later gentleman, but I recently transcribed this. I'm pretty sure it's the guy. This gentleman's asking, because the 3-lug is just, it kind of fits over the end of a 3-lug HK barrel, and it's not like a taper seal. He's like, oh my God, is that going to leak like a war comp? It's like, dude, there's like way more stuff happening on a war comp mount with a Surefire silencer than there is on 3-lug. You have you have a gap in the taper seal with a big gas cavity. You have ports on the war comp that are jetting high pressure gas right there. And you have a pressure and duration from 5.56 that is, or 308 that is out of control. On the 3-lug mount for a pistol silencer, you got almost like an interference fit, like a slip fit over this barrel. Way lower pressure, way lower duration. You know, the only way you're going to get that to jet high pressure gas out of that interface is, man, you're going to have to look, you could probably overwhelm the system, but you got to think about the consequences of doing that. You can break a 3-lug mount by shearing the aluminum. I've done that. So yeah, guys, I think I would postulate, in order to get a war comp result from a 3-lug, you're going to break your 3-lug first. And that's worse than a war comp result, depending on who you talk to. Hope that helps. Good question. Let's see. Question 350. Sub-question 59. That's crazy. 350 questions. This is insane. Is it feasible to reach a 50-plus suppression rating on the 5.56 AR system, tuned or otherwise, with current suppressor technology or with potential future breakthroughs on barrel lengths greater or less than 12.5 inch? Greater or less than. I might have transcribed that wrong, but if I remember correctly, this is like a 3-part question. That's how this dude was able to get all the words in. Good job, sir. Yeah, I think, yeah. You're saying, is it feasible to get a over 50 suppression rating on 5.56 AR? Yeah. Now it depends on the platform. You're talking Mark 18? Yeah, I think we can hit it. It's going to take some special sauce. Too much sauce. Yeah, it's going to take some special sauce, but we can hit it. You're talking muzzle, right? Or composite. What are you talking about? Not ear, homie. You're not talking about ear. 50 plus on the ear. Mark 18 or 5.56. Muzzle or composite? Yeah. Now going long, yeah, you go longer to Mark 18. You know, you're saying Mark 12.5. Yeah. I think we could get our muzzle or composite rating above 50. I think it's going to happen for muzzle or composite. Yeah, but we'll see, man. Stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. Good question, sir. That's stretching the limits of performance, as it were. Good question. Question 351, sub-question 60. At what point do you start investing in night vision or thermals? After the 2nd, 4th, 5th, or 10th can? Man, in this economy? No. No, in all seriousness, it's all about what you need, sir. If you have the use for night vision or thermal, I would highly recommend investing in something like that. I always feel that a handheld thermal is super awesome, but if you know you want to shoot with thermal, you can get a dedicated thermal sight. It will be most effective for the money total, I think, for lethality. That's the experience of most hunters that use it, including me. I'm assuming you would use this for hunting animals. If instead you are doing other things, I'd say do your research, and I think maybe think about what you really need. If you want to start walking around and shooting at night, you're gonna go in the deep end. It's not gonna be cheap. There are ways to save some money though. Like, it all depends what you're actually doing. Like, many folks have a lot of fun with a red light and a normal day scope, dude. It can be super fun, and there's no night vision or thermal required. Okay, I just don't know what you're doing. Okay, are you like trying to play Navy SEAL, or are you like shooting pigs in the face? I don't know, right? And everything, or both. Maybe you're doing both, which is totally fine. And maybe you're not playing Navy SEAL. Maybe you are one. I mean, they listen to this, so I don't know, dude. There's so many different people. I guess what I'm trying to say is, what's your use case? You feel me? Okay. 1 second. Let me get a drink of water. I think this topic is good because it's waking me up a little bit. It's exercising my brain a little bit, a different way. I feel a little better. Man, when I first started recording this, I didn't know if I could do it. I was like, man, my brain is just not working. It's like, used to be, you couldn't get your car started, but you had a manual, so you get it to a hill and you kind of roll start it. I'm kind of doing that with my brain right now. Kind of roll starting it. That makes sense, right? Question 352, sub-question 61. YHM Turbo K, or wait for the new Turbo T3? Man, you know what? My first inclination here is to ask why you are even comparing those two silencers. But then again, since the T3 supposedly has lower back pressure than the T2, and the K is shorter than the T2, you got to wonder, how does the K compare to the T3? Man, that's actually, now that I think about it, you have, this question is very good. It's like, is the T3 the same flow rate as the K but quieter? Like, I don't know. I have no idea if either of those two things are true. Like, is it the same flow rate? Is it not? Is it quieter? Is it not? I don't know. Good question. I really don't know. I have no idea what you're using it for, but I do understand your question is about comparing these two silencers, and so that's a good question. I need to test them both. I don't know, man. That's... It's perplexing to me because I don't know. I have to look really closely at them and test them. Good question. Question 353, sub-question 62. Thoughts on the Silencer Co. Omega 36M? I fell for the one-size-fits-all and bought one, but it works all right. I held one once, sir. I need to test it. I haven't. It is a silencer on my list due to its proliferation. I need to get one to test. I don't have one in inventory. My first thought is that it's probably typical one-size-fits-all performance. For me personally, I want to know which areas it shines on. Or let me say that a different way. What are its greatest performance attributes? Like, is it best on the MP5? Maybe it's good on 556. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm anxious to find out. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm sorry, sir. That will come in the future. I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you right now. But congratulations on having a silencer. Don't feel too bad that you fell for the one size fits all. Hey, you have more silencers than the majority of the population. So enjoy it, sir. Enjoy it in good health. Question 354, sub-question 63. Reasonable to extrapolate 762x39 super and sub suppression performance from 308 and 300 blackout data? The issue here, first of all, thank you for the question. I understand what you're trying to do. The issue here is the combustion differences. Besides the combustion differences, the barrel length and action type, dude. So we don't have shooter's ear numbers for supersonic 300 blackout on an AR. I don't. And then I have a feeling you're asking for AK data, so it's a piston gun. And there's all kinds of things going on that make estimations difficult. I would say maybe you're not. Maybe you're one of those guys with like a not an AK, but 762x39 or something. I would say 308 and 556 might offer some windows into muzzle numbers for the AK. You probably figured that out. Maybe the subsonic 300 for subsonic 7.62 by 39. Maybe. Do you shoot subsonic 7.62 by 39 a lot? You might. That I would say, if you have subsonic 7.62 39, you really have that, and you want to look at muzzle suppression rating. Excuse me, muzzle suppression rating. You could look at the muzzle suppression rating of 300 blackout subsonic on 8-inch, and that would probably help you for subsonic 7.62 by 39 out of similar length barrel. Because the project, I mean, it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be way closer than the other metrics, probably. Good question. Question 355. Sub-question 64. We'll do one more. This is the last one. Would it be possible to use PewSoft with other things like a nail gun for comparison purposes? Dude, yes, absolutely. Good question, because I think I actually spoke about this on the last episode. Huh. Funny. That's funny. I know I did. I actually spoke about this because one of the Pew Science members was talking to me about it. Yeah, definitely. We need a list of things to measure. I think it'll be such a good test program. I want to make a list of things, nail gun, other stuff. Maybe we can make a list from Pew Science members. I would really like to do that. Boy, that would be so neat. Yes. Great question. I'm going to do it. And thank you for that question. We'll get a list together of things people want measured that are impulsive noises. Okay, think about that, guys. I was talking over with Mrs. Pew Science the other night. I was thinking, man, I could do like a nail gun, like standing and seated. And then I could also do like take a hammer and like hammering a nail, or like hitting a 2x4 with a hammer. Because that's really impulsive and loud. What else would be loud? Like an impulsive sound. Think about it. Think about something easily accessible that I don't have to go like crazy with. I could buy something within reason, but it needs to be normal, something common. Okay? Thank you. I am good. That's a good question to end on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that row here in our spreadsheet so we don't forget where we are. And I'm going to save the spreadsheet, and I'm going to close the spreadsheet. We are done. Boom. Oh, man. That was good. I'm glad we did that today. Okay. Hope you guys learned something. I think I did. All right. Topic 3 at a time of 47 minutes. Oh, nope. Just kidding. 48 minutes and 7 seconds. Oh, man. We're making great time today. I'm going to finish in under an hour. It was the goal, after all. Thank you to the recent supporters. If you haven't received a welcome email yet, please let me know. Should be back with some fresh data later this week when I can kind of get my head above water. I was on travel this past weekend. I was able to get a lot of emails out to you folks. Thank you for your support. I do appreciate the feedback you offer when you tell me where you found out about Pew Science. It's cool to see that. Folks seem to be finding out about it from a lot of different places. I'm always surprised when people tell me. It's really cool. So I do appreciate that. Again, some fresh data should be coming to you folks later this week. I'm tied up, so I'm thinking it's going to have to probably be the weekend. It's going to have to move into the weekend. It's probably going to be Sunday or something. We'll see. It could be earlier. I don't know if I can make that happen yet. If I can, I will. I doubt it. It's probably going to be the weekend. I'll let you know. I didn't want to have to do another Sunday one, but the universe might force it. Other than the upcoming stuff, there are some cool analysis publications that will come up. At least I'm hoping they'll fit into the first quarter. Gearing up for those. There's going to be a sequence of a bunch of them, and those are probably anticipated by a lot of people. So that'll be good. So yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming. We're trying to work it all out, and I think we're going to get it done, and it's going to be great. Okay? So stay tuned, friends. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a picture of some very ergonomic weapons with today's episode. How about that? I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.